Let's set the scene. It's exactly 2:15 a.m. There's heavy rain, violent cracks of thunder, and we're jumping right into the shoes of a man named Arjun. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to visually deconstruct the incredible tension, the bizarre forensic clues, and those massive twists in the psychological thriller Night 2:15 a.m. So let's just dive right into the dark heart of this mystery.
The nightmare kicks off in the pouring rain of the Kodaikanal pine forest. Arjun gets called to a crime scene, but the main piece of evidence here, it isn't a weapon. Nope. It's an old 1980s brass gramophone. It's just sitting there in the dead of night, spinning a black vinyl record and playing this incredibly haunting taunt over the scratch of the needle. Ha! 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 You cannot find me, Arjun. It's this vintage recording that really sets off our whole investigation. But there's one specific detail here that absolutely freezes Arjun's blood.
I mean, just think about this for a second. What if the primary clue at a serial killer's crime scene was the laughter of your own dead sister? That chilling voice echoing through the rainy forest isn't just some random audio file. It belongs to Anita. That's Arjun's sister, who tragically died in a horrific fire 15 years ago. This totally impossible scenario instantly cranks up the stakes. We're going from a standard police procedural to some deeply personal psychological horror. How on earth is a ghost from a decade and a half ago the centerpiece of a modern-day murder? Well, to figure that out, we need to look at the hard facts. Section 1, the impossible murder, decoding the crime scene. Because the way these victims are dying, it literally defies all standard forensic logic. Okay, so this is the third murder in just 2 months. The victim is a wealthy businessman named Murali. But when you examine the evidence, there is zero physical trauma, no defensive scratches, no poison, nothing. Just a man whose eyes are locked wide open in pure, unadulterated terror. He literally looks like he was scared to death. And right next to him, that exact same gramophone playing Anita's mechanical laugh. We have to ask, what connects a wealthy businessman today to a dead girl from 15 years ago? The breakthrough actually comes from a microscopic detail. Arjun spots a tiny, triangular carving etched right into the wooden base of the gramophone. Which brings us to Section 2, the Lighthouse Asylum clue, connecting the past. Inside that little carving are 3 letters, LHA, Lighthouse Asylum. 15 years ago, the Lighthouse Mental Asylum in Kodaikanal burned to the ground. That is the exact same place Anita supposedly died. Now, fast forward to present day, these victims, including Murali, they weren't just random businessmen. They were the wealthy elite who secretly funded that asylum all those years ago. The killer is systematically hunting down the financial backers of a burned-down mental hospital. But before Arjun can even fully process that, he finds one more piece of evidence on the body. Tucked right underneath the victim's folded index finger, shielded from the rain in a little piece of wax paper, is this terrifying message written in blood-red ink. It says, "Don't search for the truth, Arjun. Your wife Mira will hear the next gramophone." The second Arjun reads this, everything changes. The danger is not just out in the forest anymore, it's invading his home. He frantically calls his wife, Mira, but there's no answer. Section 3, the midnight ambush, terror at home. Arjun is racing his car through these treacherous, rain-slicked mountain roads. He finally bursts through his front door, only to find the power is completely cut. And there, sitting in the dark hallway, the needle drops on another gramophone. Mira is tied to a chair, unconscious, with a knife pressed right against her throat by some figure hiding in the shadows. Arjun literally has seconds to react here. One wrong move, and his wife is gone. So he falls back on pure, tactical self-defense. Step 1, he uses the butt of his pistol to just violently smash the hallway light switch. 2, the room plunges into pitch blackness. 3, using the confusion, he tackles Mira, covering her body with his own. And 4, he fires warning shots into the dark. It is a brilliant split-second execution under immense pressure. The knife drops to the floor, and the attacker jumps out the open window. But right before escaping, the attacker drops an absolute bombshell. Turns out, this masked man wasn't just some hired thug. He's Patient 404, a surviving victim of that Lighthouse Asylum. He reveals that the fire 15 years ago, it was arson. But the biggest shocker? He claims Anita didn't die in that fire. She was saved by the asylum's lead doctor to be used as a human guinea pig for his twisted psychological experiments. Yeah, let that sink in. And to prove it, the attacker leaves behind a literal smoking gun in a pool of blood. It's Dr. Vivek's diary from 2011. Inside, right below a photo of Anita, is a red inscription that says, "Anita is still alive. Location, Lighthouse Asylum basement." This sends Arjun, along with his trusted mentor, Commissioner Raghavan, speeding straight into the heart of the nightmare. Which leads us to Section 4, the ultimate betrayal, descent into the asylum. The clock hits 4 a.m. The rain has finally stopped, leaving this heavy, chemical-scented mist hanging in the air. Arjun and Commissioner Raghavan are standing right in front of the charred, skeletal ruins of the asylum. They're going down into the belly of the beast. The suspense here is absolutely off the charts, and what they find in the basement redefines this entire story. Following a map that was drawn in fresh blood, they uncover this hidden basement laboratory. It's filled with rows of glass observation chambers and a massive central gramophone setup. And sitting there in a wooden chair is Anita. She's actually alive, but years of trauma and torture have completely stripped her of her humanity. When Arjun approaches her crying, she doesn't even speak. She just lets out that exact, chilling mechanical laugh they heard back in the forest. And then, another laugh echoes from right behind Arjun. Arjun spins around to see Commissioner Raghavan pointing a gun straight at him, with this sick, psychopathic smile on his face. Raghavan coldly explains that Anita can't speak because he severed her vocal cords 15 years ago. You guys, Arjun's trusted police mentor is actually Dr. Vivek. During the fire, Vivek killed the real Raghavan, burned the body so it couldn't be identified, and just took over his life. The monster was literally hiding in plain sight the entire time. But why? Why go through all this trouble? Well, it all boils down to the fear response. Dr. Vivek was obsessively studying the physiological and psychological limits of sheer terror. He kept Anita alive just to subject her to absolute, pure fear, so he could harvest her screams and that horrific, traumatized laugh directly onto gramophone plates. He was murdering his wealthy financial backers to cover his tracks, making sure his dark secrets stayed buried. Just as Vivek is about to execute Arjun, total chaos erupts. Patient 404 lunges out of the shadows and tackles the doctor. It's a brutal struggle, and Vivek manages to pull a hidden knife, lethally stabbing patient 404. But that heartbreaking sacrifice buys Arjun just one crucial second. Arjun grabs his dropped pistol and fires a single, fatal shot right into Vivek's chest. The doctor falls dead, collapsing right on top of his own twisted machines. The nightmare in the dark is finally over. The mastermind is dead. But dealing with a tragedy of this magnitude isn't just about stopping the bad guy, right? Section 5, the psychological aftermath, survival, and silence. Jump forward 3 months later, and the physical remnants of the trauma are being wiped away. The government comes in and completely demolishes the Lighthouse Asylum, and Dr. Vivek's monstrous crimes are totally exposed to the public. We also learn the heartbreaking truth about why patient 404 helped. He attacked Vivek because years ago, Anita had secretly shared her food with him while they were locked up. He remembered her kindness. Now, at this beautiful, peaceful nature rehab center, Arjun and Meera are watching over Anita. And as she sits there watching butterflies in the sunlight, that terrifying mechanical laugh is finally gone, replaced by just a genuine, soft smile. Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought. We've seen the evidence, we've walked through the crime scenes, and we've unpacked the devastating psychology behind Dr. Vivek's horrific crimes. The haunting voice on the gramophone was finally silenced. But how long does the invisible echo of trauma truly last? Can the human mind ever fully erase the scratches left behind by that kind of deep, resonant fear? It's a powerful question, and one this story leaves echoing in the silence. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and I'll catch you on the next deep dive.